me walking away from them, it was honestly them telling me, no, this ain't working. And that's when I know it's honest, when they tell me, no, this ain't working for you.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back again to my channel, Stepping Up. Today, you're on the road with Tar, again bringing you another brand new episode, and this time venturing down to the Sunshine Coast. I had the opportunity to catch up with a dear friend of mine, who's also a special guest for today's show. But before we get to hear his story, please subscribe and help this channel to grow so we can reach out to more individuals who have gone through mental struggles but were able to overcome them, so that others can hear their stories and learn from them the steps and strategies that they can use in helping them throughout their recovery process with navigating mental states. So in today's episode, we'll get to hear from my dear friend the physical challenges of what he went through growing up, but also has become a mentor in a men's group, Marcus Missions, which to me, in my eyes, he is a legend in his own right. So let's get back to it. Here is my dear friend, Neil. Today I'm here on the Sunshine Coast at one of my favorite suburbs that I frequently visit when I'm here, which is at Majimba. I'm not here just to visit, I'm also here to catch up with a dear friend of mine and also a special guest for today's show, who in my eyes is a legend in his own right for considering the physical challenges that he goes through in his personal life and still has time to mentor other men who are struggling with mental health. But I won't give away too much, as I'd like to allow him this moment to share a little bit about his background and what keeps him going from doing the things that he does in supporting other men. So I'd like to welcome Neil.
Welcome back to Pacific Paradise, Majimba, our favourite home, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's you're saying, I'll start off with how we met actually. Going back, we run a men's group out here, just blokes supporting blokes, and called Marcus Mission. And Tar, you were a member of that down the Gold Coast, weren't you?
That's correct.
A branch. And yeah, so one day he decided, I'm going to come up to a meeting up and see these guys up the Sunshine Coast. So we didn't know he was coming. He'd brought up his tent and his awning, pitched up down at the motor camp local, and the first thing we saw was this guy coming in because there was a major storm went through that Thursday night. A massive storm hit the Sunshine Coast, and this guy looking like a drowned rat comes walking into our meeting, and it's like, oh mate, what happened? We heard his story, and he midway through the night everything come down on him. The tent bent and buckled, and he struggled through the night, but he still came to our meeting the next morning. And it's like, oh wow, what a bloke. So just as I am, I just said, well, what are you going to do as far as because it was still quite bad, the weather, and I says, look, if you're stuck for somewhere to stay, my home's open to you. You're most welcome. He said, I'll go back after the meeting and we'll have a good looking daylight at my damage, and then I'll get back in touch. So he did. He got back in touch and says, I'll take that offer up. But little did we know at that time that storm wasn't going to leave for 5 days,
That's correct.
It was incredible. The rain did not stop. The floods didn't stop. So he couldn't get out in the car to go anywhere, get home or anything. So it was basically 5 days of me and him and my wife in the house, sharing stories on the bar, out on the balcony a lot. Just, I don't know how we got through it so well, really. It was just all talking and fun times, plenty of barbecues. What do you remember from it?
Yeah, barbecues, stories, few indulgence of certain liquids, but more importantly, great company.
It was. it was really good times, and that's really how this friendship started, just by that event, that freak happening. So yeah, that's our little story there. My story. Yeah, it's a funny one, eh? But, I'm coming up to 50-year anniversary of having what they've termed later on as CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome. It's a bit of a weak name for what I've got. It's chronic fatigue and pain, and when people say, "Oh, just have a sleep, you'll get over it," well, you try and have a sleep and get over what I got. It's not the same. It's something way deeper, and it never leaves you 24/7. So I got that when I was 18. I was in the prime of me growing up. I was out there doing everything a young guy does, working hard, very athletic. Loved me athletics. Cross country was just not a problem to me. Even the sprinting, I was pretty good at that as well. And social life going well. Like to play footy with me mates. And then I caught glandular fever, and it was misdiagnosed at first, so that probably made it worse, because I didn't know until a couple of months after, and then I was really feeling bad. But over that recovery period, which is, gosh, going back there, I remember it was 8 months to a year before I actually even started feeling half good. But when I went back to the doctor and said, I'm still not right, mate, and he said, nothing wrong with your blood tests, show you're perfectly fine. And that was their mindset back then. And I'm like, well, I'm not. But that's when the trouble began, because right down to your own family, they just can't quite get it, because they know you as that person that was into everything, helping out here, helping out there, doing everything. And all of a sudden, hey, you can't do it. You need to rest all the time, and it's not just that; it's the pain as well. Gets into your muscles. I've got it right now, actually.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Say 10 being really painful.
10 in different parts. My hands and legs and feet would be up near about a 7-ish, 6, 7. Quite annoying, but I've lived with that for so long now. It's probably that my pain temperament, but the fatigue that's through all your muscles. And it's like I do a lot now. I'm getting massages every week, and I'm on the machines at home getting those little comfort things to try and relieve the pain. I'm trying different techniques, always trying something different. Like people keep saying to me, "Oh, have you tried this?" Oh, I've tried so much. So at 18 years of age, to get that, and all of a sudden that life taken away from you, and yet your mind's saying you can do it, but your body's saying it can't, so you've got an internal battle going on straight away. So, and then your friends, they don't leave you alone, mate, at the age of 18. So they're on your case, come on, mate, let's go here, let's go there, and you're fighting this, and you don't want to be a let down to the team. So in that younger years, no one was listening. I don't blame anyone for that, because it was an unknown disorder. I had to find my own way through it, and luckily something in me triggered to be able to get through it. I went on, married my wife, we had a couple of kids, own house, and then at the age of around 31 we decided to move from Wellington, New Zealand over to here. So that was a big change of life. I just thought something happened, I just needed to change, and we did. And we'd already been to beautiful Queensland, and it was the place. Things just worked out that it fell into place there. And so we managed to do all that even though I was fighting this thing. So it's not like life stopped. It's a matter of the drive within you to keep going and finding a way.
Do you think that should have been made more aware to the public about this condition, or was it just a small fraction of people being diagnosed with chronic fatigue?
I think the medical fraternity slipped up big time there, Tar. In that generation, they just seemed to be zoned in on blood tests. And if anyone went to them with something that wasn't in the blood, they just put you down. And to be honest, one doctor sent me off to a mental assessment place to get mentally assessed, because he thought I was losing it. Thankfully, after I'd done all the tests, the mental guy, the guy that was running the mental place, said, "What the heck did your doctor send me for? You're full of beans, you know." So that was a really feeling down because being sent off there to getting that said to me by the expert was like, oh, thank gosh, But that's as if I didn't have enough on my slate. That was another burden that was put on me at a young age, and it's like, wow. But the gift of life is something that you can't just, things can get worse. Look at our life around us right today. Every day's a blessing. Every new person you meet in your life's a blessing. Every time you go down the beach or see something new is a blessing. So life can be tough on that side, but gee, there's always a counterbalance on the other side to make it worthwhile going. And I think I've got that in spades,
Well, you're an absolute blessing to me when we met up, so you still keep creating miracles even though you don't know it.
Oh, well. Yeah, well, it was a battle, and I tried to do all the normal things people do: get a house, get an investment property, do all the bits and pieces, and go on holidays, and it was all about self-care, looking after what I could do. But don't know if I mentioned about when I was in my 20-30s, thinking about 60, and I was thinking, geez, what's it going to be like if in my 20s and 30s I had this thing that was just aching me. You go to sleep at night and you wake up in the morning and it feels like a truck's run over you, so you got to start your day from that point. There's a couple of times where I used to go up climbing mountains or something, and whoever you're with will say, let's go, and you're thinking, do you know that I feel like I've just finished rather than I've started? So I've got to actually start the mountain climb feeling like I've just finished so it's a double. That's the drive you've got to have to say, you know what, it's crap, it's shitty, but I've got to start and get going through it. And I think after 50 years I've sort of learnt to do that a bit. And it hurts me to hear other people, when I hear other people get it, it hurts me so much because I'm thinking, oh no, I hope you don't have to go through what I've gone through. Especially when I see young kids that are picking this up. And it's usually after some sort of, and anything I can say to anyone that's listening to this, if anyone in your family gets any disorder, don't rush them back into life. Give them the time and the support they need, where they tell you, I feel great, not you tell them they feel great. Listen to that person, because they're telling you something if they're not right. And it hurts me so to see young people, because I think, I don't want you to go through what I've gone through. That would be my biggest thing, So that led to, I've always had that empathy for others, and my son took me to a meeting one time, because I always looked at, I suppose, this men's mental health is a thing that's sort of grown up on us all of a sudden. It's sort of, what? I never had that when I was younger, or maybe it was there. I know there was what they called mental institutions, where if you were mentally really sick, you were put in a place, but it seems to be a different thing. Is it life itself, technology, the internet generation, information going too soon, but there seems to be a lot of pressure. And what do people mostly talk about? Let's keep the pressure off. The other side of it's pouring it on. And there seems to be a big push, and all of a sudden this mental health is affecting a lot of blokes out there. And I went to this meeting with my son, and these people up there talking, whoa, this, and John Morgan, the guy that founded Marcus Mission, he was there. And from there I went to a Marcus Mission meeting, my first one, and I just found how this is refreshing. You're not reading out of a book, you're not sign this and dot this, it's just blokes listening to other blokes that are having a bad time and opening up, giving them a shoulder to lean on. It's not about giving advice or telling them what they should do or shouldn't do. It's hearing them and listening to them and just being there for them. And I thought, well, this is for me. I like this. This is a time in my life where I've managed to set myself up so I can survive happily and healthily. I don't need everything anymore, and I can give a bit back to guys that I see need it. So in my way, I think I can give a different sort of help to people, because
Yeah, no, it's absolutely legendary what you do, because like as I got to know you as well, with your chronic fatigue, some of the pain points of what you were going through, like I could not imagine how much pain you'd go through every single day of your life throughout the years, and then to come across Marcus Missions and still give back. It's it's so inspiring that you still manage to find time to give back to men who are struggling, and yet your condition is just as bad as some of these other men who are struggling mentally.
Hmm.
So was it do you feel like it was something that helped you with your condition too as well, being a part of Marcus Missions?
And Marcus Mission, every time you go along and you hear other men speak or other people, and especially John Morgan, who's just shares all of his knowledge, you always take away a piece of wisdom with you that can suit. I'm working with trying to pace myself, which I've always had problems with. Even before I got chronic fatigue, I was full of life, overdoing it all the time. But even with chronic fatigue, if I stop work for a year or two to recover, and then when I get back and I say, I start feeling good enough to get back into the work, I want to catch up on the 2 years I've missed. So you go like a bull at a gate, you're trying these things, and then you're going good, and then you fall over the edge of the cliff. And it's only now through Marcus Mission learning, maybe it's time just to read your own body, pace yourself a wee bit. Don't expect to be able to do everything for everybody. There is a limit to your own self, and that's a very important thing with Marcus Mission. You learn is how can you help someone fully if you're not looking after yourself?
So when you say helping someone and you're not looking after yourself, what do you mean?
Well, if you're drinking a lot, if you're smoking a lot, if you're eating unhealthy, you're not very fit, you're negative, you're letting the world get down on you, how can you truly tell people that are going through those similar problems, how can you be there for them fully? And if you're saying to somebody, just slow down and take pace of life, and you're out there, as soon as you finish with them, you're off somewhere to help someone else because you're rushing like that, it's a bit hypocritical. You're being hypocritical to yourself that you're saying, hey, do this, but in the meantime, I'm doing that. So you learn yourself to say, man, you know what? I've got to self-assess myself here because I'm doing that. And you do learn that sometimes just by hearing other people speaking that, hey, I am doing that. I can take that. I'm there to give other blokes help and all that, but I'm always taking away these great little things that people say or do, And we've had some people now at Marcus Mission. We've been going there for a number of years, and guys that come along that can hardly say a word, they're depressed and that, are now just saying words of wisdom. They're there spreading their word to other people, It's like, wow, this guy's he came here as a nervous wreck, he was depressed, and now he's there. And he's saying, who can I help now? Because you've given it to me and I can pass it on to someone else. So, mate, that's going to make the world a better place, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the reason for this podcast. I've learned some of the things along the way that, you can always give back in different forms. One was I thought a podcast would do might not be for everyone, but definitely someone that's listening can possibly relate to the stories that they hear from this podcast, and hopefully then something that they could work towards improving their own mentality.
Well, I think we talked a bit about this going right back to our 5 days on the balcony, This was a shy sort of bloke, loving, heart of gold, and he had a dream. And during that 5 days, we were passing, I think, a few ideas, And I've watched your whole trip grow. We talked about getting to Toastmasters, and you took the ball by the horns and joined in. And how did that go?
Absolutely amazing. It's one of the best things that's helped me to improve being a better public speaker. I mean, the ums and ahs and that we're usually supposed to leave out, but this is a podcast that's just a free chat, having a good discussion with good friends. So I'm happy to leave it in, but I don't. Hopefully, my Toastmaster presidents don't. Hey,
Yeah, critique. But you'll only get better and better as time goes on. But yeah, just to see what we were talking about many years ago, 2 years,
yeah,
2 years, and to see how he's step by step, and now look where we are, down the park with Tar, having a chat, letting other people know. That's the most important thing, letting other people know there's someone else out there. Don't trap it inside. Don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. Find your best mate first, or your family member that you trust, and start the ball rolling. There's plenty of Marcus Missions and other blokes around that are these days more open to listen to you, eh? You know, when we were growing up, clip across the air, eh? That done us.
That's the good old days.
It was. It worked sometimes, eh? It did. But we're in a different. Put that aside. We're in a different time zone now, and it's done in a different way. And that's sometimes hard for us older fellas to go. Oh, I'm not changing. I'm stuck in my old ways, and I'm not going to do it. But when you do, it's just like taking that leap of faith. And the amount of blokes that I've seen waiting outside the meeting, scared to take that step in, because there's a whole lot of blokes in there. But once they do, they breathe a sigh of relief and go, "Oh, I done it." And there are other people out there like me, and I'm not alone anymore.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because it's something that I always thought would be a good topic to bring up, like on a podcast. Because I remember a few times we would have a chat, and you would talk about, oh, it's been a bit of a struggle today, and I felt like, oh, there's got to be some kind of solution out there. And I've done a lot of research on watching some of the stuff on other YouTube channels where it just got to a point like, oh, it's probably too much information for me to hand down and say, hey, you should check out this, you should check out that, because I have no doubt you've had other people pour it down your throat too, to say, hey, do this or do that.
Oh yeah, it's a minefield, and until you know the cause, it's very hard to pinpoint the cure. There's been all these, like, I've been to all the normal ones, the naturopaths, the homeopaths, Chinese, Japanese healing. I've been through that whole genre of possible healings, and it's not me walking away from them. It was honestly them telling me, "Nah, this ain't working," and that's when I know it's honest, when they tell me, "No, this ain't working for you. You're spending a bit of money on this, but don't." And I'm like, "Whoa, okay, thanks for the honesty." So, but then I'll clear my body out again, clear it, eat healthy, clear it again, and then I'll possibly look for another possible cure. And that's how I've balanced my life. But I've never wanted to go onto heavy drugs or sleeping things or painkillers and all that can just cause other things. I've got enough on my slate. So yeah, healthy lifestyle to within you've seen me on a few beers and things like that, and we still have a good time, don't we?
Absolutely.
Still eating nice fatty meat.
Oh yeah, we're having that tonight, man.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's not like you go total. I still know how to have a good time, and never not let a good time pass you by, because you've just got to take those opportunities when you can. That's whether you're healthy or not.
I just wanted to quickly reflect back on that discussion we had yesterday down the beach, and you're open to speak freely about that discussion about your doctor.
Oh, the doctor, yeah. Just a local doctor, my original one I'd been with for a few years, trying different things again. He left, so another doctor came, and I've been seeing him now for about 6 months, and I puzzle a lot of them, they're trying different things, they're getting the blood tests in as usual, and he's looking outside the square a bit too, so he's trying, but he said, Neil, because I said I've obviously said to him on a few times, it's so frustrating that I've got this but can't find anything. Well, he said, well, it's frustrating for us doctors too. There's 5% of you people out there you have all the symptoms, or you have all the pain or the suffering, but you don't have the symptoms that we can read and see, and that fucking frustrates us too. And I'm like, holy hell, that's saying it. That I now see it's just as frustrating for some of the doctors that just go, I'm trying to fix this guy, but and you know they probably take it home after work and go, what else can I do? That could keep them up at night too a bit, you know. So they're not immune to. It's not just a doctor doing this. They've got their own thoughts, you know. So yeah, that was good. So it's good that I know I've got a good guy that I'm working with at the moment, trying a few different things, just to even trying just to alleviate the pains and things. That's what I'm more focusing on at the moment. If I can get rid of a bit of the pain, then maybe my recovery processes will get quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's rare to, you know, get doctors like that to openly talk to you about, like, mate, this is fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And, you know, like you just said, he gets to take that home. He's dealing with it mentally too, to try and work out the solutions to why it's come about. Maybe that's an area of, like, do you ever get to see doctors attend Marcus missions? Because I'm wondering who's helping them.
Yeah, that's right. And aren't we quick to judge someone else and not look at the problems that person is facing? And that's another big point that and Marcus Mission does seem to make you more aware of, that is, hey, you might say that guy's a bit of a prick, but have you really sat down and put yourself in his shoes to know what he's going through? I quite often have it too, where someone says, oh, my childhood was bad. And that seems to be quite a common, oh, did you have a bad childhood? Well, I'm on the opposite. Tell me some of your good things about your childhood. And it's quite surprising, that same person that told me their dad was bad, oh, but we used to go fishing, we used to go hiking. I'm going, well, it can't be all that bad. There might have been bad parts in it. So why? And like, I go back to my dad. He had his moments, but he also went through the Second World War that I never went through. He had to put his body on the line, saw his mates getting killed, picking up body parts of his mates and putting them in a bag and trying to make bodies out of them. So who am I to judge him? I'm glad I've got that feeling to say, okay, you did step out of line a few times, you're a bit grumpy and what have you, but how can I judge you from what you went through at the age in his 30s? Here he is out on the farm or whatever he's doing, and all of a sudden, mate, you're going overseas to kill someone that you'd never know. I mean, that's a tough thing to ever put anyone through, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you just got to sit in the silence and think about that things and go, man, I have judged people. Maybe I better go back and relook at things. And, you know, that can change your life. Someone that you didn't like before, you could go back and go, how, I didn't realise that you went through that. And all of a sudden they'll open up as a different person to you because you've just let them open up about their heartaches or sorrows. So,
yeah, hearing that, it's also something that I've kind of found. I wouldn't have thought like that if I hadn't have attended meetings like Marcus Missions or there's other men's groups that I attended, to develop that mentality of seeing it from a different point of view, instead of always attacking the person who's always grumpy, and that seeing it from a different point of view, I think was one of the takeaways I got too from attending some of these Marcus Missions. What was it for you? Like, were you aware of it, or was it something over time that you began to view it differently?
I've hardly met a person that hasn't come to a Marcus Mission meeting that says, gee, I wish I knew this when I was a teenager. Unbelievable. And I think I'm in that category too.
Me too.
If we could bring this into the school curriculum for young kids coming up, wow, what a different change of life that would be to them. You know, we talk about all these things they're teaching them now. Just teach them what we talk about real life, real events, you know. So, yeah.
We'll patent that, mate.
Another patent. Put another patent on the list, eh? Yeah, we always have a joke about ideas we come up with that we should have patented. But no problem dreaming, eh? You know, dreams are free, so it's good to let those ideas out. As you know, a couple of mine did come off, eh? but someone else got the benefit of them. But never mind. Yeah, so that what you're saying right there is the old head on young shoulders. And as a teenager, you heard it and you thought, what a stupid saying that is. But as you get older, you realise it. But if it was a teaching to a young kid, and we have had a couple of young blokes coming along to Marcus Mission meetings, and boy, some of the input they've put in has just been incredible. Have you noticed that? A couple of younger guys that are switched on, and you're like, whoa. But and that's possibly because their parents have been to meetings and they're passing it on to them, and they're kids that have listened and gone, you know what, I can open up my thought process and look at things in a different avenue.
Yeah, it was. I think I came across meeting. Is it Ben's son? I think it was Ben's son, and he was like 16 or 17. And the way he spoke, the way he carried himself was like unbelievable, because of his dad who was attending it. But I think he also holds his own men's group kind of thing.
He does. Yeah. He's really out there helping a lot of blokes. So, and the more the merrier, because the different styles suit different people. You might go to one men's group and go, "Oh, this one ain't for me," but don't give up there. There's different ones with different attitudes. You know, there's Grab Life, those blokes that just meet around a barbecue on mornings and things like that, where you make you welcome as anything. There's lots of groups out there that just that suit everybody, and like that's something we would never even known or talked of back when we were growing up. So it's a necessary thing now, and it's good to see so many blokes are volunteering their time to just be there for other blokes.
What's something you'd like to see in the future with dealing with mental health? It probably could go across the board for both men and women.
Yes.
Is there something?
Well, if it's done properly, the education, life comes down to education. And if it was somehow put into the education system, just a social skills of some sort class, but you'd have to have it. You've got to have it run by the right people. That's always the balance of life. You say, it's happening, but it's not being run properly. You've got to have certain people in there, a variety of people to give the kids a variety of views to make up their own minds. You can't just have an indoctrination as such, as where we're seeing a lot of indoctrination stuff coming into our lives now, where people should not be there to indoctrinate you with their ideas. They should be there to teach you how to be the best person you can be, and let you think your own things and stumble and fall and get up again. But these indoctrinations are a bit scary, where they're trying to get everyone to think the same ways.
And I think that's the missing maybe portion of it all, is the realities of heartbreaks, losing someone, because we don't know how to deal with it until it hits us, and then it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah, well, you were talking to someone that got absolutely hammered when he got sacked. Well, he had obviously not been prepared for that. But life is just and I did. I got a job and I thought, this is my home base. I'll work like heck and I'll be there forever, or whatever I want to do. Yeah, a sack would hurt. But if we're educated to say, hey, this is what life's like, and you'll get a job, but you may get fired, or you may decide, you know what, I want to change my direction and do something else. Give that person that freedom to think like that. And that's what the education system I'm talking about. To open up those avenues. How we know that tomorrow there could be a car crash and you get a phone call that one of your loved ones or best friends has passed away. How are you going to cope with that phone call unless you're strong enough or prepared for something like that? What makes great leaders in the war? What makes great people? That they've already educated themselves to the hardships, but you've got to fight through it and get on. there's certain, you can always look up to other people and go, wow, how did they get through that? Because maybe they've just had a father or another figure that's toughened them in that way. It seems harsh. It seems like, oh, I couldn't talk about that. But maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe we should. And just like with Marcus Mission and all that, all sorts of things come up when you let people speak. It's amazing. And you know the words of wisdom that come out of some of those little get-togethers we have, eh? It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've witnessed some pretty amazing things attending these meetings.
We've covered a lot of things. There's always something else. We'll walk away from here going,
Yeah.
we didn't cover that.
Well,
But
like,
guess what? We can do another one another day.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
quite,
that's
you know,
right.
I love this. I love that you're doing this for other people, getting out there, showing, like this guy's out here doing this. And it's not for anything else, but he, as we talked about in the balcony, he loves it. He loves doing this, and he loves helping others. And another thing I admire, his dream is to take it back to his own people in the Cook Islands one day and help.
Well, you know, it's time to start the movement. This is the movement, mate.
That's right.
And I just wanted to reflect back on that education system. I think that's a great idea, mate.
Oh, yeah. We went off track there a bit, from the education.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe that's something. There's so many men's groups around now. There's a fair bit of power between all the men's groups, you know, and maybe through some of them we can get a few politicians involved and then bring it into there, eh? It's not undoable. It's just the right people that'll push that curriculum, and I think it'd be life changing for so many, you know. Like how good would you have been, or me been, if you went out into that world with this can happen, that can happen, but you know you can build an empire and you can go bankrupt the next day, or you can lose everything. But do you stop and give up? The people way back hundreds of years, go back to our history, hundreds of years ago, and the poor old farmer, if he got too many pigs or too many sheep, the king used to send his army out to steal them or take them. Like that was your taxes, and you're like, oh man, I'm down to one pig and one couple of sheep, and like we're so blessed in our world now. Like, is there a better time to live? I've been saying that for a long time now. People say, oh, life's so hard, is there a better time in our history that we're living? We are too spoiled. We got everything, and it's what you make of it. It's what you make of it yourself. We're too quick to blame the system or the things. Well, no. If you're not making too much money, don't spend too much money. Just don't have the expensive thing, but go out to a park like we're at and enjoy it, because there's cheaper things to do than hopping on a ship and going for a cruise, or going overseas for a big holiday and then come home broke because you spent all your money. So you just life's great. Wherever you are, whatever you do, it's we're blessed in this, and especially this period of time.
Yeah, and hopefully that well, with Marcus Missions, they provide that like a safe place to come to and work on your mental state, which originally this is what the podcast is all about, is how individuals navigate mental states, the situations and the experiences of what they went through and how they overcame them. There was something that I viewed one of these podcasts, The Diary of a CEO. He was interviewing Stephen Bartlett, interviewing Simon Sinek. And there was something that Simon Sinek spoke about, which was mental fitness. And I think that's something that we could try and develop over time in helping people through an education system, which could be something that's part of a mental fitness exercise or regime that we could practice.
That's exactly what we're talking about with education. That's something that never come across. It was always physical, but not mental education. And you hit it nail on the head. That's what the kids need, is that help with getting over those life hurdles that some you don't mind learning as you grow, because you're always going to learn and grow. But to have all that information provided through a regular education system in a controlled and good way, man, that would send a lot better kids out there that Just didn't stress over the little things, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't stress, and that's a thing. Don't stress over the little things. If you want something to stress over, I'll give you something, eh? I'll make it worth your while. I did. I was at a work meeting one time, and the guy comes in, and we're around the table, and some guy spits out, "Oh, I've got a problem," and whether the boss had a bad day or whatever, he just let his barrels go. Don't come in here with your problems. Come in here with your solutions, and then we'll talk about them. And I'm like, wow, that was good. That was really good. And then he actually says, "Go on, get out, go. Leave and don't come back until you've got some solutions that you can discuss with me. I'm not going to be burdened by your problems." And I learnt it. That was a good dong moment. Pretty good, eh? 'Cause
That's absolutely amazing. That's one of my takes for the day.
that's what those meetings are like. Those get-togethers we have. That's just that one golden moment that comes in, and you know what? Most problems you can solve yourself, and especially if you're educated at a younger age to take the stress and anxiety and all that out of those decisions. Just say, you know what? A hurt time in life is just another one of challenges. It's just a part of your life. Like, you can't say to someone, "Oh, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, it's going to be perfect." You've got to say, part of life is the ups and downs, and how you get together, and how as a family you unite when times are tough, and how you get through a problem. And it's not a problem, it's a challenge. It's even change the word problem. Get out of there. Make it a challenge. You know, kids, we've got a challenge. Something's happened and we've got to get together and do this. Okay, let's go forward and let's get there. So, yeah, that's possibly some of the stuff I've used in my day-to-day. It's what's the challenge for today? Is it a good challenge, or is it, one that I've got to work a bit harder on? But, yeah, it's all how you look at life there, Tara, and we talked about that education thing, and I do hope one day that education does bring that forward. They brought in sex education, and wow, geez, they could replace that with something better than something like that,
Yeah, like we got to hear about what you went through physically with your CFS. We got to share some ideas. Also, a awesome men's group, Marcus Missions, that have I've learnt a lot from as well with their ideas. So before we kind of come to an end or come to a close, I'd like to allow you this time if there's anything you'd like to just share for the viewers that are listening. Maybe even what it's been like through the mentorship that you've done for others. I'll let you just share a little bit of what it's been like for you.
It's for a lot of us, every new venture, every new thing, there's an amount of fear in it, and you're scared and you don't take that leap. Even opening up yourself to a mate is it's a scary moment, and we haven't been programmed for its life, and sometimes we think it's shame or embarrassed, or all these words and tags have been put on it. But when you're in that moment, you've got to, if you need help or you're given help, put that aside and look at the end result. It's like if I had a saying for that, but it's just slipped my mind. But I'll go on to, if you open yourself up to a friend that you're having real bad problems, and then all of a sudden you get a helping hand back from that friend, all of a sudden that fear that you had, that anxiety, in that moment it comes back to you going, wow, what a relief. And then from there it just gets better and better. It's taken that initial leap. So the people that watch this and that, it doesn't matter whether you're given the help or asking for the help. Put the shyness and all the tags that we've been tagged into at life, put those aside, take a deep breath, think about it and go, I'm going to do it I got to think of the end result, and that's the one is, and that's the joy we get at Marcus Mission is it's opening, listening, and then seeing people that are depressed or sad all of a sudden being the one that are telling their tale or helping a guy next to them one day, and you're like, there, they've got over that. They've got over the tags. We could call them stupid life tags that we put on, that shyness, the embarrassment, the, oh man, I don't say that sort of stuff. We've got to come to that next stage where we put those ones aside and look at the end result. And if you always look at the end result, still hasn't come back to me, that saying I use, it makes things a lot easier. That's so do it.
Thanks, mate. Look, just again wanted to thank you for joining me on this podcast show, to sharing your wealth of knowledge and through what you've been through. I'm hoping that I can continue to produce more of these podcasts and reach out to not just the men but women as well, because I know they put in the effort to research places like Marcus Missions and for reaching out to other members that are possibly thinking about someone they know or care about. Hopefully they're viewing this, and if there's someone that they also know could possibly learn from some of the stories that we'll get to hear on this podcast, then reaching out to one soul is more than enough.
Yep, yeah, and let's hope if women are in need, there's places where they can have their own avenues, and I know there are a few out there that women, and they are better at it normally than men at doing that. So yeah, we're just focusing on the blokes at the moment because that's where we can best put our foot forward, But we certainly care for our mums and our daughters and our sisters and what have you, just as much.
Okay then, so thanks Neil, mate. It's an absolute pleasure and honour. Thank you for welcoming me again to your place and onto the show. And I can't wait to do the next one down the track.
I'm sure there'll be another one.
Absolutely.
Plenty more. So look forward to seeing it grow, and all you people enjoying it out there and taking your little bit of a gem out of every one you hear that helps you in your day-to-day life enjoyment.
Thanks, man. That was awesome.
Cheers, bro.